Elements on Air, number 7. 7. We are grateful to be here. We've had a lot of technological problems, and it feels like every day is a new thing. And things were easier last week, and then it got hard, really difficult again, and then they got easy again. So I have no idea.
This is the process. I spent 3 hours yesterday fine-tuning the system that we're working on to put the classes online, because at one point in time we had 3 different cameras broadcasting in 3 different places, and I was trying to get everything into one system so it would make an easy, quick setup. And I got all that worked out. And then we go to broadcast meditation this morning, and it always happens during meditation, which I guess the point to meditate is to pull back inwards and not let all these things get to you.
What a great tool.
Right?
What a great thing.
And so in all that, the computer system decided to update while we're broadcasting, which means it was using too much of the memory, which means we were only putting out a low resolution, so everything was really blurry. And I'm like, what is causing this? And finally, you work through it. There's another opportunity, you learn something else, another solution comes.
We're evolving super fast, and I use that word with purpose. We're evolving, we're shifting, and collectively we're all going through the same thing. Inside our studio, the way we used to do things is no longer relevant for the time being, and so having to relearn, adapt, to be open to that change, to be able to change our perspective, it can be ultra challenging.
And I just want to throw one thing in there, and this is a very serious thing. I don't want you guys to think that we're hogging all the heat to ourselves right now, because we can't practice with the heat either. We turn it on one day and we're in the middle of the class and the phones and computers overheated and everything shut down. We lost class. So we're not practicing with heat either. So we're right there with you guys.
What I want to talk a little bit about feelings.
Let's go talk about something else. So
let's talk about
you want to talk about your feelings or my feelings?
Let's talk about your feelings, Kendall. I'll start.
Okay, let's talk about your feelings. Are you going to tell me about my feelings?
Oh, no, I
There's been a little of that the last couple of days as we've been working through solutions.
But I realize how crazy that sounds, and so I want to take responsibility for mine. There's a very low level humming of mourning, and there's sadness, and there's sorrow in there. And I had that conversation about in the meditation today, that what we're teaching is to be able to feel those feelings and use them as a catalyst to transform the feelings into an energy that pushes us forward. There are feelings like fear that keeps us from feeling love, and so that's one feeling that we can transmute into compassion, and so that we'll be open to the experience of love. And it sounds like super complicated, because we can tell you, oh yeah, I just shifted and transmuted.
Oh yeah, just hop into a handstand.
Like, yeah, right? Like, it's a lot of information right there. But what I'm trying to say is that you are not alone in the feelings you're experiencing, and it's about being able to have that emotional intelligence to be able to identify which feelings you're feeling, so that you can then use that information to inform your decision making. That's where I'm going. You want to talk about your feelings? Talk about your feelings.
So I've had feelings all over the place. I've had feelings of fear. I've had anxiety. I've had excitement. I've had creativity. But I've had this one feeling that I've been kind of exploring, and it started off as like a feeling of opportunity in space, and then I started reading this book about distractions and things and how that works, and I'm like, wow, we have more time on our hands than we ever have, or as you're quarantined, you're supposed to have more time on your hands with your family, you're at home, right? And I find out that I'm spending more time now
We're masters of distraction as humans.
on distractions and trying to get stuff done at the studio, and we one of our girls was home yesterday, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm gonna go home and spend time with my family. I want to pull inwards, and I was like, I think, yes, it's challenging being stuck at home, but there's also opportunity there. You can do the things that you used to feel guilty about doing because they were taking time away from something else. You can go paint if you haven't painted in for a while, and you're like, I really want to do this, but I feel like I should be doing this, 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 and this. And so that's something that I'm exploring. I hope Monica will explore with me. Like, I don't know if we get outside or not, go on a hike or do something, and create some artwork together, and be playful and explore that part that we have hopefully create more time for.
Yes, and obviously this is part of our service to everyone, to stay connected, to create a community that can transform, and so that is our service to this world, and so we're committed to it, and that's why we're here. But yes, I want to go out with you. Oh, we're touching
Are you
each
asking me
other.
on a date?
I'm asking you on a date. And so, okay, about talking about that emotional intelligence, it asks for us to be inquisitive. Like Kendall said, have a mindset of exploration, and that begins to tap into the topic of resilience. As humans, and this is a lot of information coming from Buddha's Brain. There's a book Rick Hansen wrote, and a bunch of other doctors and colleagues in the neuroscience field. They discuss about how the mind operates in its wanting us to protect us from death, and so that's how we've survived however thousands of years we've been here, and that idea that we're resistant to change just because of our psychology, well, it's much more than that. We're resistant to change because of our biology. And so as we start to understand that, then becoming that a point of departure, then perhaps we can look at all of the other pieces that can help us navigate through change easier and more resilient. We've had this workshop in the past. We've taught it in many places here at the studio. Teacher training, we teach it. And we combine not only the psychology and the yoga philosophy with it, but we move through the experience kinesthetically. And so there's a lot of pieces to resilience that is just beyond the ability to be flexible.
Agile?
Agility is one of them. And so what we want to do is, this is part 1 of 3 episodes where we're going to talk about the components of resilience. First, we want to talk about the problem, which is,
we don't want to change.
We don't want to change.
It's easier to kind of stay in the same patterns, and it makes you feel safe, and that's the way our brains are kind of built. And so anything that kind of pulls us out of the pattern feels uncomfortable, and we want to push that away.
Yeah, we want to push that away, and we crave that which makes us feel good, then we push away everything that is super uncomfortable, and that keeps us in that loop of just spinning wheels. And you'll know more on that because of being, once we're placed in a situation, we adapt to the situation, and that becomes a MO, right? And then that becomes, as the mind it wraps itself around the situation, then that becomes the way to operate. And there's a lot of information right there, because we could be stuck in a place that is ultra risk, in a risk situations, or a risky place on earth, and then we're okay, we adapt to it. Or we could be adapting to being in our homes and being confined to them. We become okay with the idea of that. That's going to change. We know that itself is temporary. And so then what happens when the doors open again? And what happens when we have a new situation come to us when we just adapted to the one that was given prior?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it never stops. That always keeps happening. you get to a place, and then all of a sudden you adapt to it, and then you start to get bored, and then you start to get distracted, and then you start craving something that makes you feel more comfortable, or you're attached to it, and you start pushing away what makes you feel uncomfortable. And an example of this is our oldest daughter. Ever since she was 5 years old, her teacher asked her, she's like, "What is your favorite thing about school?" And she looked at her 5, and she's like, "When I get to go home." And literally, I'm not kidding, I mean literally, every day we get in the car to go to school, even till now, she's like, "Dad, do I have to go to school today?" And so this has gone on for like 16 years at this point. And she was the first one to say, after a week of being at home when they canceled school, she's like, "I miss school. I never thought I would say that. I miss my friends. I miss being together." And I've been telling her this for years. It's like, enjoy the company of school. Maybe you don't like what you're going over, but enjoy the connection stuff. I was like, you're not going to see it now, but you're going to see it when it's gone. And, and that's changed. And you start to...
And then she sees.
Then you see.
And then you see. It's incredible when that happens. And I think we're all are being given that opportunity right now.
But the point is that situation was temporary. The one we're in now is temporary. There's going to be more change down the road. And it's just being open.
Being open, washing your hands, being safe. And if it's not just for you, but for the people that you love, that they remain safe, and that they themselves are teaching others to do the same thing. And then
also, wash your groceries.
Wash your groceries,
because
yeah.
it hangs on cardboard a long time. And we'll put a video on our blog about this too, but of just how to clean everything as you get into the house, because it can stay on cardboard from 24 to 48 hours, I think. So yeah, as you're getting all the groceries in the house, make sure that you're disinfecting them and making sure that they're clean before you open them all up.
It's a lot of thought involved. I never thought I would be so aware where my hands are at all times, and it's just becoming, I don't know, it's another layer of awareness, which in itself is not bad.
But coming back to resilience.
Coming back to resilience, and we want to break down all of the pieces so that you can take it home, you can digest it, think about them, and perhaps apply them in your life as you start, whatever life gives you next, that you can be more skillful through it. I'm not saying I am super skillful, by no means. I am working through all of the same thing you are. I'm just been giving a lot of information through my teachers. We have been giving a lot of information through our teachers, our own self-study, and we want to share that with you.
And self-mistakes.
And self-mistakes.
Learned a lot through self-mistakes. No pun intended, because my last name is Self, but
yeah.
And she just learned a lot through self-mistakes.
Self-mistakes. And we're putting ourselves out here, guys, and being ultra vulnerable with this, all of this stuff that we're doing, because I think if we can touch one person, that is enough. And whoever needs it, this is for you.
So we're going to break this workshop down into two.
It's a 3-part series. Today we talked about the problem. Then we'll talk about the one component of resilience, and then on the last episode we'll close it up with the last component of resilience, and then tie it up on a bow. So
the problem, again, is opposing change. We oppose change, we become rigid, and what happens is something that's rigid. If you put too much pressure on it, it breaks. However, if we're supple as things start to change and we can bend and move and adapt, we become resilient to the forces that are applied to us.
Thank you, Kendall. I hope you enjoyed this. Watch our free meditations every day at 11 a.m.
Yes, and the point of that, if you haven't seen them already, the point is to generate a feeling of gratitude inside, because that's the gas really behind it, and intention. And set the intention to heal and strengthen our community with everybody going through stuff right now. Because there's studies that show that when a lot of people meditate and get together, that can actually affect your own DNA, and it can affect your community. Like in DC in the 2000s, there was a study where they had 1,500 people in a room together meditating, and the crime rate actually dropped. Same thing in New York. So that's what we're trying to create here. So please share that to as many people as you can. Even if you can't get online, just sit down 11 o'clock every day, meditate, and let's spread some love throughout the community.
Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with somebody that needs it. We love you, and we'll see you again soon. Namaste.
Namaste.